So we're going to begin today on the opposite side of the globe with one of the busiest and most fascinating railway systems on the planet, in India. Apurva Bahadur joins us from his home in Pune, near Mumbai, in the west of India, where it's already after 9 o'clock at night. I discovered his work on Facebook through the Steel Wheels Photography group, which was created by another of our presenters, Frederick Simon. Apurva is an engineering technical documentation specialist who's been photographing India's railways for more than 30 years. His photography includes the distant hinterlands beyond Pune, as well as the coastal Konkan region. With a focus on scenic locations, he combines his railfanning with plenty of trekking and hill climbing. I can tell you that his images shine with the exotic light of the magnificent Indian landscape and its remarkable people. Welcome, Apurva. We are so glad you can join us today. Okay, Apurva, are you here?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, well, yes, loud and clear. Let me make you the presenter, and then you can take it away for us.
Sure.
Should be all yours.
Okay. See my screen?
Yeah, looks great.
Okay. Okay. So this is the theme of my presentation. I have a very tough task. This is not a branch line railway that I'm talking about, but one of the busiest railways in the world within a very short time. And let's take it forward. So this is what we need to show you today. And my presentation, it could be my photographs, but it's a joint effort by a number of rail fans. And all those people are together in this. So because I couldn't have done it alone. Rail fanning is an incredibly dangerous and lonely profession. So we always go in groups of 2 and 3, not too many people, but we do go out in groups. So even if it's these are my images that you're looking at, actually it could have been possible without my friends. Okay, so Indian Railways is the 4th largest railways in the network. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rapidly go from slide to slide. This is more like a catalog of Indian Railways rather than giving you a detailed thing, because each frame I could explain to you 15-20 minutes, but we don't have the time for that. So just enjoy it. And if you have a question, write down. I would have been very happy if this could have been an interactive session where you would interrupt me and ask me a question or give me your comments. But since that is not possible, let's do that at the end. So I'm going to rapidly go through the thing. And if you want me to go back to some slide, maybe you can write me a chat and then we can go with this. So this is the state called Goa. Let me start with the statistics that India is the 4th largest Indian Railway, is the 4th largest, and it's under one management. It's owned by the government of India. So everything in India is by the government. And what happens is that if you know about the history of India, we were a British colony till 1947. So as soon as we became independent in that time, we decided that self-reliance was the way to go forward. Till that time, India was 100% steam. We had thousands of steam locomotives. Some background again, India doesn't have oil. So we could run steam locomotives. We have coal for 400, 500, 600 years, but no oil, not even today. We are getting to be electricity sufficient. So the current focus is on electrification. The current focus is on doubling. It also means end of the diesel. It also makes railways very uniform and boring, if I may say so. But what you will see is mostly diesels, because that's what I am, a diesel railway enthusiast. Okay, so we run 22,000 trains every day. This is old statistics. Now, again, this is pre-COVID statistics. Sadly, the COVID has put a stop to all the Indian railways, and the country has been under shutdown for the last so many 6 months, 4 months, 5 months. So basically, whatever you are seeing, all the hustle and bustle is previous to that. So this is again the old statistics. The numbers may be much more. It's a people's railways. It serves 23 million passengers. This is again data from 2015. So entire population of Australia is in the trains every day. And in a place like Mumbai, Bombay, in the local system, the EMUs, the entire population of Belgium is there in the morning and the evening. So it's a huge country with a lot of population. We are the second largest population in the world. And if you don't watch it, we'll become the first overtaking China. Now, again, statistics, so many thousand stations, route kilometers. The track kilometers are different because there may be 2 or 3 tracks. In a typical section in India, you have 3 tracks, out of which one is dedicated for freight, or 2 are dedicated for freight, or there are 4 tracks, and 2 are running for only freights and 2 are running for passenger trains. So India is going towards that, even if it's a single line today. In 2010, we ran out of 4-digit train numbers. So we had to introduce an additional 1 in the numbering. So what used to be 2124 became 12124. So all the trains in India now have 5-digit train numbers because we ran out of the numbers. So that just shows you how many trains we run, and they are all for people, because we are looking at very, very cheap fares. I mean, I just was looking at the longest train out of my home, Pune, which goes to a place called Jammu Tawi, and that's about 2,200 kilometers. It runs every day, and the cheapest fare is $5.84, and the most expensive fare in air-conditioned reserved with sleeper is $41. The longest journey in India is 4,200 kilometers in 82 hours. It's a weekly train. And the cheapest fare is, again, $8.70. And the most expensive is $60.24. So these are like amazing prices that you're looking at for the value that they give. And these trains arrive within 5-10 minutes of their designated slots. So it amazes me. I've been a railway enthusiast for 35 years, but even today, to see a train which is coming from so far away arrive on time is a small miracle, but it does. Okay, this is the focus of our affection. I don't have the time to explain to you what the circumstances are, but every time a train crosses a station, or another train crosses another train, or a train goes on the curve, flags are exchanged or lights are exchanged. And this sort of tells the people that everybody is vigilant and everything is right. There could be, a station master looking at a hot box, and then he gives a red flag, and then the train has to stop because there is a problem. Here is a rare event that a freight train overtakes a passenger train. But that's the way it is now, because freight is the one that makes money. Passengers are the one that the railways serve. Trains are objects of beauty for all rail fans, and in India, it's not any different. These are the EMU, the electrical multiple units, which run in the Bombay region, and they also run in Pune region. So these are 12 feet wide. They're probably the widest trains anywhere in the world running regularly. And this is actually a weed. This is called cosmos. And after monsoons in October, we get these flowers on the ground. I just want to tell you, these people, they were very kind to do some research, but this is the map of India. This is Mumbai. This is the area that I'm talking about. I live here in Pune, and this is something you need to know. Mumbai is 14 meters. It's a sea level, whereas Pune is 560 meters. So there's a big range of mountains here called the Sahyadris, and any train coming into Pune has to climb that. The word is Ghat, Ghat. Ghat is a mountain pass, and you'll hear the word Ghat many times in this presentation. So every Indian you meet will talk about Ghats, because that's a common thing. I'm also going to talk about this coastal line, which is called the Konkan Railway. It's a new line. It's opened only in 1994, but it hugs the sea coast, or the western sea coast. But there are also mountain ranges which come into the area. So it's a track with a lot of viaducts, because there are a lot of wide rivers and lots of tunnels. So those are the areas we are looking at. And the area that I'm talking about is this Pune to Miraj Kolhapur line. So one of our favorite spots, some of the favorite spots are here. Some of the favorite spots are on this line. Some of the favorite spots are here in Lonavala and this area. So let's start the thing. I'm going to take you very rapidly in a virtual tour of our backyards. This, of course, is not near home. This is in Goa, which is on the west coast of India. And we're talking about a place called Shindavane, which is about 35 kilometers from Pune. And the beauty of this is this Shindavane Ghat section. So Shindavane Ghat is a short 12-kilometer section which starts at the bottom. Shindavane is towards Pune and Amble is on the other side. And there is this giant mountain on one side. And the train has to climb through this. You can see the portal of a tunnel here, and there's one more tunnel here. There are about 3 tunnels and 7 viaducts in this section. And until recently, it was a single line diesel. Now doubling is on and electrification is on. It's almost done. So the section has lost some charm, but it's still a very beautiful place. Cinderella Station is a very tiny station. It's more like a staging post so that the trains on a single line can wait and climb into the ghat section or cross or overtake, whichever. So here is a guy with who's selling cotton candy, who's arrived on the. There are only 2 trains in each direction which stop as a regular scheduled service. So this is one of them, and a guy who's selling trinkets. This is a familiar loco to older generation of rail fans. This is a DL560, our beloved WDM2 class locomotive, which is the Alco design. And these are the locos which have made India, because in 1962, we got these locos after much global selection that we had to, we looked at GM locomotives. We looked at Alco. We looked at every other things. Very fortunately, Alco was the design that was chosen, partly because they allowed us to manufacture the locomotive in India. One of the terms that we wanted to put up as we had become independent is that everything we make should be made in India. So we took on a lot of technology, and it employed people from India rather than import machinery. Our people learned to use them properly. Our people learned to innovate about that, and several locomotive classes which are Indian in design are emerged from this. And these are absolutely gem of locomotives, my favorite locomotives. And anybody who has heard in Alco, it goes in your veins, and then you can't unhear the sound. So this is a passenger train leaving Shindavane in the morning. This is in the evening. I mean, this is a train called Goa Express, and it's almost night. And as the train went by, the guard noticed that there are guys outside, and he's actually looking at me. Every Indian train has a guard at the back. So he manually starts the train. He's vigilant on all the curves. So this is one of those scenes. This is very early in the morning, and this is again a train which comes from Kolhapur, overnight sleeper train. It goes to Bombay, but it goes to Pune first. And this is the plume from the compressor. The air tanks get purged of the moisture. That happens frequently. So this is okay. This is again the Goa Express that you saw earlier. On some other day, it's evening time and it's climbing. Goa Express used to get 2 Alcos as power, which is great. Now it gets a single EMD of 4500 HP. This is very early in the morning. And again, this is the Sahyadri Express. What you will see is the same trains again and again, because in a day slot in this section, these are the trains you're going to see. And we always plan that if we go at this time, we're going to see this train at this place, and the light will be against it, for it, whatever. So that's the way we do. So you will see the same trains again and again, but you can see the glory of the section. This is one of the tunnels. Here's the train. It's on the top. So it's just coming. It's a freight train. This is one more view of the first viaduct and the first tunnel. Sorry, second viaduct and the first tunnel. This is a very dry place. It doesn't have water. It doesn't have a river. It doesn't have a reservoir. But the government has solved it in a way which I will talk to you about in a little while. Another train is climbing the section. All Indian trains, most of the Indian trains are 24 coach long. So they are like a kilometer long and they take a huge amount of people. And this train comes from Delhi in the north, capital, and it goes to Bangalore in the south, which is our technology capital of India. And it takes a zigzag path and it comes via Pune. So this is one of those trains. And again, this is a freight train early in the morning. Absolutely glorious place to go. Anybody who comes to India, it will be my privilege to take you there. Of course, it doesn't look like this anymore, but I'll be glad to take you there. Chindamani Ghat, magic, absolutely magic. This is the longest viaduct of the section. This is the viaduct from the side. Same viaduct. What you're seeing is the monsoon. India has very heavy rains at times. So this is the viaduct number 4, and it's raining. Okay, I'm on top of a hill. So viaduct on one side, viaducts on the other side, and this is the morning passenger which is coming from Satara. This is a train coming towards Pune. This is coming from a place called Tiruchirappalli, and it will go to Sri Ganganagar, which is border of Pakistan. One of the longest trains through Pune. Beautiful morning light. This is again the morning passenger climbing the ghat section. These trees that you see here are called agave. They're the derivatives of what makes the tequila. And this plant is put in these railway embankments to hold the soil together. So these are essentially they're imported from US. So there's a connection here. Again, what happens if this section has got rockfall, landslides, etc., etc. So there are people who are posted in this difficult section, and they've got nothing to do because the accident occurs only once in a way. So they tend gardens, they make this place beautiful. Very nice. Okay, why am I showing you this? In the entire ghat section, this is the only place you can drink water. Otherwise, the place is dry. So this is a perennial spring. And whenever we go for an outing, we do drink water from this. This is not the water you drink. You can see a slug here. There's a frog here. And there's a soap here. So the people who work here use this for washing. But this is it's pure water. And we've drunk it many times and suffered absolutely no ill effect. So just wanted to show you something. It's the part of this ghat section. This is the last viaduct number 7, and the morning passenger which is going through. Further up, a tiny bridge on a fast flowing mountain stream. And this is again the train from Bangalore to from Delhi to Bangalore, which is going through. This is a freight train. This is the end of the ghat section. What I didn't show you here is an iguana. What I showed, it's not an iguana, it's a monitor. So while we were waiting for this train, this monitor just leapt into the tracks, it crossed the tracks, it went up here, and it was waiting here. But I couldn't get this in the same frame. But it was doing something very intelligent. It was very fascinating to see wildlife in this section. Okay, this is the second section I'm looking at. This is called Doundaj. Shindavane is about 30 to 34 kilometers from Pune. Doundaj is 66 kilometers from Pune. Its claim to fame is that there is no straight track in this place. Everything is curves, and it also has got the second sharpest curve on the Indian Railways broad gauge. Okay, I forgot to tell you something. Indian Railways has got 4 gauges. So this is a 5'6", the standard Indian broad gauge. Then you have a meter gauge, which is 1 meter, 3.3 feet. Then you have 2 types of narrow gauge. One is 2'6", one is 2 inches, 2 foot. And another one, which is a standard gauge for all the new metros. So those are running on standard. So basically, but metros are not part of the Indian Railways usually. One is, but other ones are run privately. I mean, they are government owned, but they're not part of Indian Railways. So we have 4 gauges, and what I was talking about is the sharpest curve, second sharpest curve. There is even a sharper curve on the entire Indian Railway. So this is the morning Maharashtra Express, which actually travels only in my state of Maharashtra, but it takes 24 hours. It takes more than 24 hours to cross that. So this is arriving. This is one of the trains from Mysore to Delhi. Is passing through. Absolutely gorgeous place. It's a grassland, and this track would appear somewhere near this mountain. So if you're standing here, you can see a train coming, and you can position yourself as you want. The one of the thing is every weighing machine from 1891. It's in use every day in a place like Downage. Now, there's no need to change. It's working fine. It's been recalibrated from foot point seconds to metric system, and it's fine. It's working all right. I mean, of course, a station like Downage doesn't have much of freight booking, but this machine exists even today. Again, one more. It's a day train which runs between Bombay and Kolhapur. It's called Koina Express. It's passing through. Unfortunately, Downage doesn't look like this anymore. There's one track here and there's electrification done. This is an embankment which takes you around Downage. This is a small village, very, very tiny village. Curve, the second sharpest curve in India. And this is the other Koina Express. Like what you saw was the Koina Express going to Kolhapur. This is the Koina Express coming back from Kolhapur. This is a train which is going from Bombay to a place called Hubli. Very beautiful curves. This is again one of those curves. Downage is only curves. You will not see a straight track. It's all curved. And this is one of the last curves. There's a level crossing here, and this is the passenger train, the afternoon passenger train coming towards Pune. And this is the third location that I'm going to talk about. It's called Adarki. It's about 110 kilometers from Pune. Its claim to fame is it's a double horseshoe. And these are the places we railfan very frequently. This is again the Koina Express that I talked to you earlier about, is going through the lunar landscape of Adarki. The Pune to Miraj Kolhapur track used to be meter gauge before 1970. And this is the remnant of the old station board. It's got texted English, it's got Hindi, and it's got Urdu. Urdu is the language which is shared with Pakistan. So it's a Arabic script. You have to read it from right to left. But it exists there. This is the tunnel number 4 of the section. And this is, this is Koina Express emerging from that. The section doesn't look like this. It looks like this now. In fact, this is from last year. So by now it would be even more this thing. So this is the second bore of the tunnel being constructed. And there's a freight train, oil train coming. One of the features of Downage, of Adarki, is this cut mountain, and very sharp turn here. And it's very magical to see a train doing this. You can climb. These are very, they're not very tall to climb, but you have one more tunnel here, which is tunnel number 5, a glorious evening sunset. This is Downage. I need not tell you how beautiful it is. Bad things happen, and Indian Railways is tasked that clear the line. Whatever happens, clear the line. Let the wreckage lie there, doesn't matter, but clear the line, get the traffic started. So I remember this accident. This train was carrying sugar. It was very sweet smelling, and the sugar was spilled all over. And the traffic was stuck for 48 hours. And these guys worked non-stop, and they just cleared the track, repaired the track, and got the traffic running once again. And apart from moving the injured, sadly, if there's a dead person, they'll leave the dead person. First priority is to get the traffic started. That's, I suppose, is the same in everywhere in the world. Okay, this is a view from the horseshoe. I'm standing on the platform, and the train has gone behind me, and it's come on the other side. So this is one of the horseshoes, and there's a horseshoe behind me. So there are 2 horseshoes. This is the second horseshoe. Okay, what's happened is this power has failed somewhere in the track. So they've got 2 freight powers. They've just hijacked them, and they've put it On this is again Koina Express. This is this hill with the cutting. Okay, this is the station, the Adarki station, and the train. This is the weekly train to Ahmedabad in Gujarat, and this will go around this. There's a tunnel here, and it'll come on the other side. What you're seeing here is a water tunnel, is a water canal. And when you have a canal, where is it going? It has to emerge. So there's a tunnel here for the water, which is something which most of you have never seen, but it exists. I just want to show you because that'll be a question. And you can see the distance signal for Adarki in this place, which shows that the next tunnel for the railways is on top as well. So a very interesting place to go to. One more curve in Adarki. This is the train going to Ajmer. It is going from Bangalore to Ajmer, and curves after curves. Same train, another day, another location. There's a lot of wind power available here, so you have hundreds of windmills in the section. I'm going to talk now about Konkan Railways, which is the newest railways in India. It's along the sea coast, the western coast of India. And this is a train called Jan Shatabdi, and it goes from Bombay to Goa and back in the same day. So earlier it was not possible, but due to the high-speed running, this is one section that runs these trains. There's a place called Dasgaon, which is over a wide river, Savitri River, and this is the morning passenger train coming on the bridge. People is what makes Indian Railways run. And here is a watch pan. So basically, the people on duty have to display their identity to trains. This is in case there's an official on board, an inspector, so or some manager. So they note that this guy is on duty, and this is basically a hut to guard a tunnel, which is right behind this place. A beautiful station on Konkan. This is just a halt station. It has no station master. It has no loop traps, nothing. So the train just comes, it waits for a few minutes and goes off. There are no signals. So it's one of those things. So what happens is that if you want to board a train from here, a guy will come on a cycle and sell you the ticket. And then he goes off. So it's basically an outside agency which deals with these things. And that person comes only twice a day when the trains are due. Again, like Shindavani, only 2 stopping trains here every day. There's no place to cross. As you can see, it's a single track. Konkan is it has got ferocious rainfall, and it's a young geological area. So there is rockfall, and these are the rock nettings which keeps the landscape together. Extensive use of these nets is done to keep the rocks from breaking out. This is a train coming from Bikaner and it goes to Coimbatore. Now, these are all massive distance, 2200, 2300, 3000 kilometers, but so many trains run every day on these routes. This is the evening scene, and this is some train. Konkan has got very, very wide rivers, and this is one of them. You shouldn't swim in them because they've got crocodiles, but they're very, very beautiful place. I know I shouldn't do it at my age, but it's very tempting that a train is coming at you. Culturally, are we allowed to go on tracks? Absolutely not. Legally, are we allowed? No. But will anybody stop you? Probably not. Nobody cares. So we take advantage of that. I know I shouldn't be doing this, but this train was coming at me and I got the shot, but I got the shot, and that's what I look at. I'm not suggesting that somebody else needs to do it, but okay, the endearing memory of this is as the train comes closer, it pushes the wind ahead, and a small mini tornado of a blast of air comes out from this end. So you wouldn't be able to stand there in any case. So I just took this shot and went out of the way. This is a special train with a special livery called Contagious Express. It's the starting of the boring trains of India. This train, the door closes before the train can start. I know this is very unusual for all of you, but in Indian Railways, the door can be left open and you can stand in the door. You can also sit in the door, and if it were unsafe, people won't do it. The good thing about it is that is one of the rail fans designed this livery on his computer, and he said, okay, this is what you should do, and this is a locomotive from Kalyan Shed, which is in Bombay, and they said, okay, this is great, we will use this thing, and it's his livery that is there on the locomotives. Konkan has got a lot of undulations, and this is one of the viaducts. And this is a premier train of Indian Railways called Rajdhani Express. It goes from various state capitals and it goes to Delhi. All of them go to Delhi. All the pair of Rajdhani trains go to Delhi. So this is one of the trains, and this moon is actually in eclipse. I was very lucky to be there at that time, but it was in the daytime, and then we could get this shot. Coconut monkeys, and this is a place called Ukshi, and Ukshi is the only double line tunnel on the Konkan Railway. And the station yard, this text is saying Ukshi Surang, that means it's a Ukshi yard Surang. So it is it's the station yard is through the tunnel, and this is a train coming on the main line. Okay, this is a viaduct. This used to be the tallest viaduct in India. It's called Panwall Viaduct. There are amazing tales of how this viaduct was built. I know the designers of the viaduct, who are like a group of architects, planners, civil engineers in Bombay, and they said that we didn't know what we were doing. Konkan Railway said that this is the alignment and this is what we need to do, and they're so modest that they've done it. And this was Asia's tallest viaduct in for many years, till China took over, and then India's got even taller viaducts now. But this is it's a hollow structure. Just to show you the size, we normally avoid people thing, and each of these columns is hollow, so you can actually go inside, and there's a lovely echo inside. And if you want to hear a train going on top of your head, this is a place to do it. This is again Panwall Viaduct in the evening. This is the next viaduct. I mean, Panwall is a giant viaduct on the other side of this tunnel. There's a 1 kilometer tunnel between these two. This is called Pomendi Viaduct. And so on the other side of Panwall is a 4 kilometer tunnel. So it's like viaduct tunnel like that. So the section is full of that. This is a train called Duronto Express, which theoretically it doesn't have any passenger halts. So this comes from Bombay and it goes to a place called Ernakulam, which is in Kerala. It's about 1600 kilometer journey. It takes about 24 hours. It's a non. So what you can do is you can buy only a ticket from Bombay to Ernakulam. You cannot get into the train. You can get off, but the ticket will be to the end destination. So effectively, it doesn't have a timetable. So Ratnagiri doesn't have a timetable, Madgaon doesn't have a timetable, Karwar doesn't have a timetable. So the train just comes. So we were told that this will come at 6:50 in the morning. So we reached there 15 minutes before time, and as we were approaching, we could hear the train running. So while this may look like something we've planned, actually we just made it and we took the shot. We just got the camera out of the bag and we got the shot. So this is Duronto Express in a place called Honawar. This is a river called Sharavati. This is one of the flows. There are two other flows behind me. And what happens is that there's an island in the middle. So this is the longest bridge on Konkan Railways. This is again the Sharavati River. There used to be a tile factory in the middle island. This is one of the flows. There's another view of the same river. Okay. Bhorghat is nearer to home. I told you that Bombay is at 14 meters and Pune is at 550 meters. So obviously you have to climb. So this ghat section is what connects the lowlands of Bombay into the highlands of the Sahyadris. I just want to show you this thing. This particular structure you see on top is a reversing station. So this is from 1850s, 1860s, where the train used to climb. Now this place is called Khapoli, which is almost at sea level. And the train would climb to that altitude within 27 kilometers. The train would go on around on the left hand side. It will climb. It had 52 tunnels. That's another story which we're going to talk about. But this is the altitude one has to climb in a very short time, like I mean within a very short distance, like 27. So 1 in 37 is the ruling gradient, and again torrential rains, very difficult landscape. We'll talk about that. This is the top of the Ghat section. Lonavala, this section is so steep that every train has to be pushed up from the rear. Even if it's a one coach train, it will be pushed up by 1, 2, 3 locomotives, basically to mitigate in case there's a coupling failure, so the train doesn't roll back. So this is one of those bankers. We use the British term, which is to bank a locomotive up, but the Americans use pushers or helpers. So this is the same concept. And these locos also help to brake heavy trains. So they get attached in the front of heavy freight trains. And usually the people who drive these locomotives, the Ghat drivers, are very experienced people. They're very senior. So they know nuances of taking a heavy train down the slope. So you use them for both purposes, for pushing up every train and for braking all the trains which are going down the slope. This shows you the gradient. We're climbing the Bhor Ghats. This is the end of Bhor Ghat actually. This is a place called Khandala. It's a hill station, and this is a BTPN. It's an oil train which is coming from Bombay. Again, showing you the kink, the place where the gradient ends in Khandala. And this is actually an EMU, electrical multiple unit, but even that is banked from the rear by 3 locomotives. So, okay, this is what you see in Khandala. You'll see first the top of the pantograph emerging, then the headlight emerges, then the windscreen emerges, because it's almost rising from the ground. So it's absolutely magical to be here. This is again one more view of Khandala station. Okay, this is a tunnel. It's here. This train is emerging from that tunnel, and this is a ventilation shaft. Again, like I told you, culturally, it is acceptable for you to be there next to the tracks. We have got into trouble. We have got into legal trouble. We've got challenged by the police and everything, but somehow we can talk our way out of it. Our enthusiasm basically helps us to get ahead. But issue is that we can do this probably here. Of course, we talk the local language. We are local people, so we can do these things. But this is a 2.2 kilometer long tunnel, and there are 2 ventilation shafts, and this is one of them. This is one of those tunnels, and this is the locomotive which is pushing those trains, a banker locomotive. Okay, this is one of the images from this section, and these are. I asked this guy, so what are you doing? So he says that these leaves are the ones which will give my goats better milk. So that's why he's carrying it. So the speeds are very low. They're 50 kilometers maximum. And these people who stay along the Ghat section don't have a road access. So the only way they can get to their home and to work is using these bankers. And it's culturally accepted. If it were unsafe, if people got hurt, they wouldn't do it. But it's okay. We haven't done it, but people do it. And since this is Monkey Hill, you have lots of monkeys around. This is a view out of Monkey Hill. This is the grandeur that exists right next to my house, 60 kilometers from where I stay. Lower Bhor Ghat. This is again, it's a historical. It's a place which has got a lot of history, and I'm going to be talking about the history of Lower Bhor Ghats next Sunday, 10:30 Indian Standard Time. If anybody is interested, or if you'd like to arrange one of those sessions through your society, I'll be most happy to talk about it. But that's a part of our research in this section, because people always talk about the beautiful part of Bhor Ghat, but this is a remote part of Bhor Ghat, the Lower Bhor Ghat, which is very difficult to reach. And if you start looking at the history, it starts from 1850s. and it ends up right into 80s. We have located the people who actually made these tracks, and there are 3 tracks in this section, and they're from different ages. John, you're most welcome. I'll take you there. This is again a viaduct which is 1850s is when it was made, and this is a banker returning from that. In the other presentation, I'll show you the ancient views of this viaduct, and you'll see that this the portal of this tunnel is the same. Another tunnel that we have, and like I said, culturally it's okay to be there. A person as old as me and as fat as me can stand anywhere and nobody will challenge me. One of the ancient viaducts running strong from 1856. The Bhorghat was made by a woman. Her name was Alice Treadwell, and that's an amazing fact. Of course, she didn't do it, but she was the contractor. So we say that she was the leader of this venture. The train called Hyderabad Express. We've come to the end of the Bhorghats. This is the height that we climb, half of this. And this is a station called Palasdhari. And these are the bankers returning back to Karjat, where they started the pushing. This is Karjat. Indian Railways is about people. It's about each person holding their role. And this person is starting the train from the platform. Basically, the train, because there is a gradient ahead, the banking locomotives at the rear first push the train through the station. It goes over to the first diamond crossover, and then the lead loco will start applying power. So this is a very interesting place to visit if you are ever in India. Some random shots. This is again, say 15, 16 kilometers from my home, but this is from 2005 when we had Semaphores, and this is the Goa Express in the evening. This place is completely transformed. There are more lines here. It's fully electrified, and it's become the cement unloading, loading. One of the major businesses of Indian Railways is carrying cement, carrying steel. So the earlier depot was in the city, and because it was in the city, so you had a lot of dust pollution. So they have moved out of the this thing, the place called Saswad Road. In the same ages, you had ball tokens. So this is a token which this guy has thrown. He's maybe doing about 75 kilometers per hour. And this is the new token that he's going to collect for the section. So every section, they had a token. So between Pune and Kolhapur, you had 42 stations. So 42 times, this guy, day or night, rain, heat, cold, he would go out. He'll wear this glove on his hand. He'll wear a sleeve protector. Some guys would wear eyeglasses, and they'll throw this token and collect it. So this was a sort of ritual which went on, and it is human coordination that ran the thing. Just to show you the smaller gauges of India, this is a 2'6" locomotive. This is Pratap Nagar in a city called Baroda. People at work. This is a train being backed for its journey to Bombay. People. This is a meter gauge train, 1 meter, 3 feet 3 inches gauge, and this is running between Akola and a place called Indore. And these people were so kind; they fed us, and they didn't mind. They were very happy that we were traveling in this train. Now, there's a place called Ranjangaon Road. This is a giant S curve. So the rail fans from our area frequently visit this place. India has got some steam. This is a X-class steam which works between Mettupalayam and Uttakalambandalam, which is called Uti. And this is a rack locomotive. So this section is very heavily graded on this side, on the exit of this town. And this is a rack and pinion locomotive. And this was a Swiss locomotive, but since the company shut down, India reverse engineered these locomotives, and now you have a new set of locomotives which look like those locomotives, but they're oil fired. Another random shot somewhere in the middle of the country near Itarsi. Okay, what's next? I'm giving a talk about the Lower Bhorghat on next Sunday, 10:30 IST. If any of you would like to join, please let me know. Take my email ID from Scott or connect with me on Facebook, and I'll be most happy to give you the invitation. Or if you have enough audience here, we could do it for your group also, not a problem. Um, a special thank you to my wife, dear wife Shama, who's we are married for 30 years, and it's because of her that I've been able to do all these things. And she's always been supportive. And this is a YP class locomotive from at Miraj. Miraj was one of the stations which had all three gauges. It had a broad gauge, it had a meter gauge, and it had a narrow gauge. Now it has only broad gauge. So we just visited, just as after we got married, we visited Miraj for a day. So this is from that sequence. Well, thank you. I think this is the end of my presentation. I'll be very happy to take any questions, and if you want to have any discussion, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Well, Apurva, that was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh, thank you. It's really, really our great privilege to be able to see your work. And as I said in the comments, I think everyone on our staff is ready to come see you just as soon as the world events will.
Okay.
And I think there are probably some others that feel the same way.
Yeah. Are there any questions?
Well, we'll give it a few minutes for some to come in. I guess one from me is that I don't think I have ever seen bankers being used on EMUs before, and that is just a remarkable practice. I'd love to know a little bit more about that whole operation.
It's not for the power; it's for the safety. In
Sure.
case the coupling fails, the remainder of the train will just go out of control. So
Right.
they'll push the train out of the section. So it's basic to avoid loading on the coupler.
What type of braking system does India Railways use?
We used to have vacuum brakes everywhere. Then we have air brakes. Now it's air brakes everywhere. The locomotives have dynamic brakes.
Okay.
All diesels in India are American in origin.
Sure.
We have Elcos, we have GEs, we have GMs, and all of them are made in India. So that's the way it works. And electric locos are all in European origin.
Sure.
And we have ABB, we have Alstom, and the current phase is now going for three-phase. So everything is three-phase. Diesels are three-phase, EMUs are three-phase, electrics are obviously three-phase. And so you also have regenerative to the OHE, back to the grid. So you have those brakes also. I can see some questions here. Can we?
Yeah. So let's see. Dave Psalms, hi Dave, asks about one photograph included at least one monkey on the ground close to the right of way. How common is it to see monkeys adjacent or on structures, and do they find their way into equipment that is being tied down or parked or anything?
They do. I mean, basically, if you look at some of the images, the OHE structure has got nails to avoid monkeys climbing onto them, because 25,000 volts will kill, and they
Sure.
But they get the hang of it that they are not supposed to go near that thing. Our bigger problem would be when elephants and other bigger wildlife will start crossing tracks which are electrified, and then we'll have another set of disasters. So I'm a diesel fan, so I don't support electrification, but that's the way the country is going.
Sure.
Yes, please. Is there any other question that I need to answer? The monkeys, yes. So monkeys in places you have monkeys. They can't be wished away, and they're a lot of fun to have, and they're very entertaining, and they're very human-like. So monkeys in our Shindamne Ghat, we have chinkaras, which are sort of antelopes, and we have snakes, we have lizards, we have monitor lizards, big ones. We have big cats. I mean, I'm not an expert, but we've got friends who say, okay, this is the paw mark of some big cat. I say, okay, I believe you. And then there are foxes. We've seen foxes. So it's a lot of joy going out in the open. These are not wildlife reserves. This is actually the wildlife, this is a wilderness. There's a question about semaphores. Yes, a semaphore is used in some sections, but it's almost on the way out. So we are moving towards a lot of standardization in which we're going to have a central train control, and the entire section can be monitored from one place. So all they will require is these electronic signaling and one place. I mean, it still depends on people, but they want to remove all that control to a central location. So semaphores obviously won't work, and semaphore means that there are two signal huts on either side of the station, and the station master tells this guy, okay, this train is coming, please allow, give the signal. And there are of course mechanical interlocks, but those things. How much time do I have?
Well, we're going into a break, so we can keep this going for as long as we have questions.
Okay, right.
As long as you're willing to answer them.
Sure. Right, absolutely. I'd love to have a conversation. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Semaphores need people, whereas the electronic signaling just requires a panel in front of the station master, and then they can work. They don't have to leave the seat. They can just set the points or whatever it is, and they can do the things. But we've been very fortunate to have seen semaphores in action, to see ball tokens in action, to have foot-plated locomotives. Crews are very kind to just say, said, may I do any so sort of a permissive thing in the night, and they will be asleep in the day. Obviously, no alcohol. Those things. So all those things, they're very professional in their work they do, but they're also very friendly. So if you ask them nicely, perhaps you'll be allowed on the footplate. And it's becoming tough because somebody talks against you to somebody, that person will get into trouble. But earlier, when I started rail fanning, it was much more friendly, and we used to call them the sweetest community in the world because they were very sweet. And they were very friendly. Okay.
No,
so that's for this. And yes.
We've seen similar things happen here.
Okay. There's one more. Todd is asking, very nice presenter. Curious to know how you reach your location via train, car. Do you camp and hike across? The nearby places are by car. Earlier on, it used to be by train because it was very convenient for us to take a train in the morning, do the hiking, and take the afternoon train back. And for each of those trips, we spent something like 11 rupees each way. 11 rupees is something 10 cents. But we got treasure load of photographs and experience of that. But now we take a car so that we can stay back, and then we can arrive much earlier than the trains. And as the light comes up in the day, we can reach there. And and some places we stay overnight, and we hire a car locally, or we drive from our home and we reach there, stay there, and then go around. It's a coordination of many people. It can't be done alone. So, but we do all of this, and we are trying. We've got stuck because of the COVID. The last 6 months we haven't done anything, but it'll come. Okay, yes. So now Dave is asking for 1,000 for GM. Yes, we have 1,000 in the last 6 years. Did not. So I haven't seen those locomotives. The EMDs are plentiful. EMDs are made in a place called Diesel Factory in Varanasi, but the GEs are going to be made in Bihar, a place called Morwara, and they'll be made by GE themselves. They are setting up a plant in India for doing that, and there is a 1,000-unit order now. I'm confused about how electrification. When we have declared that diesels are evil and we're going to put electricity in place, how is it that we have put an order of 1,000 high technology locomotives? So obviously, what they say and what they do is different, which is true with government almost everywhere. But the order for 1,000 locomotives is there, very much there. Okay, and I haven't seen them though, because we haven't really visited the railway sites, and where we visit is not really the main line, but slightly sidelines. They're secondary routes where those look.
Apurva, we seem to be losing your audio a little bit here.
These are the 5800. Another path called anacondas. So that's the way we run trains, and they run non-stop, because if they stop anywhere, our problem is that our loop lengths are very short. So short in the sense relatively short, not like USA or something which has got huge lengths and the entire freight train will fit into that loop. But anaconda won't fit into that loop. So if it done, what happens is if there's a problem, then they just separate these three trains into three different trains and they take them off. So then the length becomes normal. So that's the way we are working. We have just started double stacking with electrification, and there are absolutely very, very tall pantograph on those. So that's on right now. And tunneling project, Eric is asking, tunneling projects underway to reduce the steep grades. No, it can't be done. There's a tunnel which is being planned now. I do not know whether it is wishful thinking or it's going to happen. Is the entire Bhorghats, which is from Lonavala to Karjat, there could be a tunnel which will reduce the gradient, but I don't think it's for the railway tracks. It is for the road, and because the road itself is pretty dangerous, and on top, so they're going to build a new alignment for the highway, but not for the trains. Yes. Is there anything else that I can do? I think we've done.
We have a few more questions that came in on the chat, which I'm happy to read to you.
Yes, please.
So Bond French asks about concrete ties. How long have they been in use in India?
40 years, 50 years. The wooden ones are gone. Yeah.
Quite a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah.
And then another Duffy Wiles from England asks about what camera equipment you're using.
Oh, it's very primitive. I mean, what I use is a 10-year-old camera. It's a Nikon D5100, and I have a single lens. I don't have many lenses. It's a 18 to 140 zoom. But a lot of work because in a place like for railfanning, I don't have the time to change the lens, or I don't have the time to position myself because our idea is to collect as many shots of the trains as it passes. So we use one, at least I use a single lens, and even if I'm carrying multiple lenses, it's going to be of no use at all. So I used to use Canon aim and shoot before, but I have a lot of things on film, but they're not really, if you look at railway as a form of art, then they don't qualify there. They were just shots because we thought, we love railways. But the deliberate, taking good quality photographs has started only with digital cameras. And we've got together as rail fans only after the advent of internet. I didn't know that the guy in the next lane was just as crazy as I am, and we had the same interest. It's only in the internet we met and okay, we got to do it, and then we get together, and then within 5 minutes it's as if I know him for years together, because him and me were talking the same language, and that I suppose happens everywhere in the world. So that's great.
Yeah, no, it's certainly led to a lot more connections here too.
Yes.
Alan Furler asks about heritage railways running steam or steam excursions. How common are those in India?
The scheduled steam services are, one is the track railway, which I told you, that is Uti to Mettupalayam, and there is a short service in Darjeeling, which is east of the country, northeast of the country. It's very difficult to run steam locomotives in India because there is a huge pressure on the main lines to run those 200, 300 trains. So in between that, you cannot have a slow train which could break down potentially, because these are all old locomotives. But we have a steam shed in a place called Rewari near Delhi, which holds a lot of live steam locomotives, and they run them within their yard. And sometimes they bring them out on special occasions, like we have a National Railway Day and some special events. But usually heritage railways, I'll be very happy even if they have a diesel, because that's also now on the way out. So steam only special two hill railways always, and sometimes, very, very rarely, what happened is that we have a bullet nosed locomotive called WP, which is a Baldwin locomotive. Um, so those for every day they would run it from Delhi to a place called Farrukhabad and back. But people wouldn't pay money to get there. No, you had a chance to do it. So on the weekends it would be full, but on the other days people wouldn't. So basically the railway lost money. So not much going for it.
Right.
We are a very poor country. I mean, India is making money is very much more important than heritage. Very sadly, but that's the way it is.
Well, I think kind of related to that, Walter Sapolsky just is asking about the effects of COVID and how the shutdown of the railways has impacted the people of India.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I mean, there's absolutely, I think, never in the history of Indian Railways have we got a shutdown for months together. What happens is that sometimes you have a flood and then you have tracks getting washed out or something like that, and then you landslide, so the train goes off for a day or two, but nothing more than that. But now it's 5 months and no trains are running. Now they've just started introducing trains one after another. But basically, in India, the big cities have a lot of migrant population which comes from the rural places to work. And in case the trains were running, they would go back. And so that would take the COVID from the city into the areas which didn't have city. So first thing they did is they stopped all transportation. And it's an unprecedented condition. I mean, nobody has thought about the effects of what's going to happen. And but right now the trains are just they're just starting. I mean, say not even 10% of the trains are running. But the freight trains were running throughout to take goods for relief, all the medical supplies, food. So that was running, but the passenger trains were off. It's an unprecedented condition. We have never seen not having railways, but they're starting slowly. Yes, please.
I was curious about the freight trains too. Some of these lines that you've been showing us, how busy are they with freight traffic? How many freight trains on a typical day over some of these lines?
One every hour. Every 15 minutes. So basically, in between, what happens is we know that 13:10 Koina is coming, 14:20 this train is coming. Between that slot, we see one or two freight trains coming, and we know that in the morning section, if we are here, we'll see one empty oil tanker going towards Pune. So we see a regularity in them. It's basically freight which earns money for the railways. So they're very keen on running as many freight trains as possible. But it's also a socialist thing. They have to serve the people. So they have to run those trains also. In fact, I told you about Konkan Railway, and then we had it won't make money initially because the tickets are more expensive. It was a new line, so they charged a premium for it. And then suddenly somebody said, okay, this is a hilly terrain and trucks will find it difficult. So why don't we run a roll on, roll off? And they started running on an experimental thing, and that became the most popular service that they. So it started with one service twice a week. Now today it's about 8 to 10 services every day, and they go packed, and there are vehicles just waiting outside Bombay to load. And at the other end, in southern India, they just unload. So the entire wear and tear of going up and down mountain slopes, that is gone. State borders crossing, using of diesel, and maybe we could hire a truck and we could travel in that someday. Of course, there are no toilets in that, huh? So you have to, when it stops, you have to get off and do it somewhere on the side. But so those that's what I was trying to say is that it's the freight train which earns money, and that's where a lot of pressure is on. India is going to it's got a dedicated freight corridor now. So the tracks, the existing tracks, right now we're running passenger and freight trains. So now between the four quadrilaterals, that is the four major cities of India, we're going to have a dedicated freight corridor. And the western one is ready, and the the eastern one is ready. Other ones are in the process of being done. and those will be running parallel to the main tracks, but that's being done so that we have container traffic and oil traffic and everything like that.
Right.
So that's, yes, please.
We have a few more questions that came in privately to the host.
Yes,
Someone's
please.
wondering how many passenger classes there are across Indian Railways.
You have an unreserved class. You just buy a ticket and get inside. No guarantee of a seat. Very crowded. Lot of fun. And you have second class sitting accommodation, which is 108 seats. That's for day trains. And then you have a second class sleeping accommodation, which is 56 berths, if I'm not mistaken. There are three tiers. I mean, in the sense that there are 3 berths in each bay, 6 berths transfers, and 2 berths on the side. So those are the second class sleepers. They're non-air conditioned. Then you have a tier air conditioned sleeper, and then you have a 2-tier air conditioned sleeper, and you have a first class which has got private doors. I mean, it's got a cabin to yourself with 4 berths or 2 berths, and you have the AC chair car. So maybe 10, 12 types of coaches, different coaches, and this is for broad gauge, and there is different for meter gauge and stuff like that. So it's our we feel the need, we feel a need. You have double decker also, and now you're going to get a double decker with sleeping arrangements that's going to come. So we've just changed over from like I told you, diesels we've bought from US, and electric we've bought from the technology we've bought from Switzerland and France. The coaches have come from Switzerland, so that was the first say 1950s to about 5 years or 10 years back. Now we have something which has come from Italy and Germany. So those are the coaches we are making, and based on those models, we have a variety of what's on the top. It could be sitting, it could be sleeping, it could be single deck, it could be double deck, it could be air conditioned, it could be non-air conditioned, and a variety of them. And those are called LHB coaches. So come down to India, I'll show you all these things in great detail. You can travel in all of those. Yes, please. Any other questions?
If you offer, we'll take you up on it.
We are your democratic cousins across. We're the same system, so you'll feel absolutely comfortable. Most of the Indians talk English, so you have no problem. Although we have 22 different languages and hundreds of dialects, but there's a great diversity in our country. But you'll be very comfortable in it. You'll have to get used to the sheer number of people, and you'll have to get in India. But apart from that, it is as safe. There's no problem. Come anytime, and lots of tourists do come to India. Let's let this COVID thing pass, then you can take a call on this. Yes, please.
One last question. Bill Bach
Yes, please.
is curious when regular steam finished on lines around Pune.
1980s, 1980, 85. I mean, basically, maintaining a steam loco is takes a lot of people, and it doesn't go very far. So there was a steam shed in Pune. There was a steam shed in Duct. Basically, as the train length started increasing, the steam power is not adequate to haul the long length trains. You have to change the locomotive frequently. So I would say I'm not up on the dates, but 1980s, early 1990s, everything is gone, and we've seen them work. So I've been very lucky to have. In fact, this place called Shindavne Ghat that I talk about. We thought we were the first rail fans to go to that place, but there was a British guy who visited us in 1970s, and he's got all the same trains you see: Koina Express, Maharashtra Express, Sahyadri Express, and he's got these trains in this section with those locomotives, steam locomotives, and they were absolutely giant locomotives. So if you go to our parent website, which is irfca.org, you can see those photographs, and I'll be very happy to show you the details in those photographs, because again, without being immodest, nobody knows those sections better than I do. So what are you seeing in that picture, and what is the detail is something. What happened is he died. What's his name? I just come back. If you can go to www.irfca.org and IRFCA, and you can just go to view, and I can show you the gallery. Go to the open line. Paul Claxton was the person. So Paul Claxton died, and his brother, who's in his 90s, few years back. So I'm not sure if he's still around because he's not replying to my mails. So Paul Claxton, he left a bunch of photographs for which there was no data. So it was left to people like us to figure out where this place is, what does it look like today, and what is its location on the map, and what are we seeing. So all the data I have compiled and put up on our IRFCA website, which is the Indian Railway Fan Club Association, which is the Indian Rail Fans group. And it was very fascinating to see those pictures and to see those massive machines and work. Steam couldn't have been sustained, although we have 500-600 years of coal and no oil, but we could have ran, but the technology, the pollution norms, and that's the thing which makes it difficult for anybody to run steam engines, however great it might be. But we've seen steam-powered freights, we've seen fast express trains, slow passenger trains, all running on steam. We've seen meter gauge steams. Meter gauge steams are so cute. I mean, once you see them, they're like absolutely perfect. You saw the photograph of me and my wife on one of those locomotives. So they're very beautiful machines. And okay, any other questions?
I think we've gone through all of them.
Okay. So feel free to share my email ID if anybody's got, if you guys would like to join for a talk on Lower Bhorghat. That's about 1.5 hours, which will be next Sunday, not tomorrow, the Sunday after that, or at 10:30 IST. That is around midnight for you. Or if you have enough audience within your group, not necessarily your this thing, but if you have, say, 20 people who are interested in this, I could give you a presentation of that. Not a problem. At any time.
I think we definitely have a follow-up presentation to be done off of this. So we'll definitely look forward to scheduling one of those as part of our ongoing series. That would be
Absolutely.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Apurva, thank you again. It's our pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Am I done? Okay. So I'll mute my mic now. Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye, Eli.
Bye. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.